Greetings, chosen undead.
Hello!
Today, we will be 100%ing Dark Souls at level 1. I've heard from a few people in the community that this challenge isn't possible, and honestly, I almost believed them, because when you try to 100% Dark Souls at level 1, you run into a few problems. The Sun Bros require 25 faith. Logan won't teach you spells if your intelligence is too low. So, how do you do it? Let's find out. But before we dive in, let's set some ground rules. We will be getting all achievements, all the extra DLC spells and tail cuts, all gestures, finishing all NPC quests, and upgrading our flasks to the maximum of +7, all without leveling up a single time. Now, I love Dark Souls. It's the game that got me into challenge running in the first place, and I still remember my first Soul Level 1 playthrough like it was yesterday. So coming back to this game for a full 100% run at level 1 felt like the right thing to do, a love letter to the game that started it all. To kick things off, the only class that starts at level 1 in Dark Souls is the Pyromancer, which actually works out pretty well for us, because Pyromancy in this game doesn't scale off any stats at all, it just works. My main weapon plan going in is the Reinforced Club. It's flat out the best Soul Level 1 weapon in the game thanks to its base and bleed damage, and interestingly enough, that's still true all the way to Elden Ring with the spiked fist weapons. Some things never change. I'm also going to have a Divine Club as backup for Nito, because I remember him being particularly hard for me in the past. After spending way too long in the character creator mashing the randomize face button and making absolute monstrosities, I went with the default Dragon Scholar face. Dignity intact, barely. The game kicks off in the Undead Asylum, which I will die on a hill defending as one of the best tutorials in gaming. The notes on the ground teach you the controls, the enemies are a perfect preview of how the game is going to try to kill you for the next however many hours, and it all just feels intentional in a way a lot of tutorial areas don't. Our buddy above throws down a corpse with a key, we grab it, but we do end up murdering him later. Classic first meeting. We light the bonfire for our first achievement. Let's go. Head upstairs to finish off Oscar, rest in peace my friend, grab our Estus achievement, and take on the Asylum Demon. He goes down without too much trouble, and we fly to Lordran atop Snuggly's mother. I want to take a second here because Firelink Shrine as a hub area just hits different. The music, the fact that you can see so much of where you're going to go from right here, the Crestfallen Warriors voice acting and dialogue, it's just kinda goated. I could sit here for a long time, honestly. The temptation to kill this guy, however, is strong, but we resist, for now. We head out to grab our Reinforced Club from the Undead Merchant, and I immediately autopilot down to grab the S-Stock and Parrying Dagger because I've played this game so many times it's hardwired into my brain. I'd die for it. Was it worth it? Debatable. We'll come back. Quick tip about elevators, when you step on an elevator button and immediately run off, the elevator still activates. That way if you die, you don't have to wait for it again at the top. Love little tricks like this. Speedrunners even use a trick where they drop their body onto an elevator they shouldn't be able to access yet, dying in the process, but still gaining access to the area. After parrying a bunch of fools, including a Black Knight, grabbing some Pine Resin, and running at the Taurus Demon with the classic gold Pine Resin plus ladder drop combo, we finally meet the absolute GOAT, Solaire of Astora.
The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father. If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
And then I realized something. The Sun Bros have a 25 faith requirement. At level 1, I have 8 faith. It's gonna be a problem. But if you
engage in jolly cooperation
as a phantom 3 times, you can bypass the faith requirement entirely. So the plan is to go online, get summoned 3 times, and earn our way in through action. Simple in theory, less simple in practice as it turns out, when the game is 13 years old. We head towards the Undead Parish. By the way, getting past that dragon is harder than I remembered. I also want to talk about this bull for a second. I'm sure if you've played this game, you remember stabbing this bull in the ass, but there are other ways to kill him too. If you're fast enough and angle your jump right, it's actually possible to do a drop attack from this bridge, and you can usually kill him. You can also use these alluring skulls here to make this easier. Putting the alluring skulls in the fire and making him burn himself is another funny way to get the job done. I love how many ways you can take this guy out, and the fact that the alluring skulls are right there begging you to experiment. We find the legendary blacksmith and upgrade our Reinforced Club a bit. Oh, Andre, here you are all these years later still hammering away. One nice thing about not using soul to level up is I'm able to get to +5 right away. Grab the Firekeeper soul in the parish, kill Lautrec at Firelink for the Fat Ring, which bumps our HP and stamina to 687 and 111 respectively, where they'll stay for the entire run, and join the Way of White for an achievement and a gesture. I decide to grab 2 more Firekeeper souls here, making it possible to get our flask to +3, and head to Quelaag. Side note, I actually never noticed until this run that you can time your dodges right when Quelaag's sword flashes for easier timing windows. She goes down first try. We ring the bell and discover the Chaos Servant Covenant for 2 more achievements, but don't join yet. We'll need to max it out later by farming humanity for pyromancies. Alright, so the Sun Bros. I tried everything. I joined the Way of White Covenant to make getting summoned easier. I waited and waited. I played with this dead body so long I finally flopped it over this ledge. Oh, I did it! Let's fucking... I eventually joined a Discord, which, for someone with social anxiety, is already a significant sacrifice, and messaged the community asking for help. Still nothing for a long time. I want to be transparent. This is where the challenge almost died. If I can't get summoned enough times, I can't join the Warriors of Sunlight, which means I can't get the 3 Lightning Spear miracles, which means we're missing 3 miracles, which means we can't 100% the game. I also had to be careful with my weapon upgrades. Once I upgraded past +5, I'd move into a new summon tier, making it even harder to find co-op partners. So I was stuck holding off on progressing until this was sorted. After what ended up being over 10 hours of waiting across multiple sessions, shoutouts to Suha, Kurador, Tor, and OneBro, we finally got our 4th successful co-op run. They said it couldn't be done. They said the faith requirement made this impossible. But I can praise the sun at level 1. We joined the Warriors of Sunlight, grabbed Lightning Spear, and honestly, I could stop here and feel good about the run, but we've got a long way to go. If you enjoy this kind of content, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. I make all of this by myself, so any support is greatly appreciated. Back to the run. With the Sunbro business handled, we're free to actually play the game. We grab the Crest of Artorias and buy some arrows to get the Drake Sword for Knight's Honor. For some reason, I didn't realize I was doing 0 damage with the arrows since my dex is so low. This means we have to do the really precise running tail cut with our stubby little club. I'm also unsure if this is possible without our limited gold pine resin, so I honestly got pretty lucky here. We rescue Griggs of Vinheim, so we can buy sorceries and ring the other Bell of Awakening for another achievement. I summon Solaire here for a Sunlight Medal. After beating Gargs and ringing the bell, Oswald of Karim shows up. He's got a gesture and a miracle we need, but the miracle cost 40,000 souls, so we are waiting on that for a while. Buy some spells off Viggs, beat the Capra Demon, and head to the depths for our large ember. Now that co-op is done, I can upgrade my weapon freely, so we push toward +10. We also free Laurentius, the legendary pyromancer, fooled by a barrel. Next is the Channeler, the large Titanite shard, and a great axe. After some nice parries on Kirk, we take his sword as well. Gaping Dragon has a tail cut that we need, and I want to keep Solaire alive for this fight too. This ends up being harder than I thought, keeping Solaire alive, not the tail cut, but we do get it eventually. One of my favorite armor sets, the hard leather armor, is in this room as well. This is a great armor set for someone playing the game for the first time. Start working toward Blighttown for the power within pyromancy. I lose about 40,000 soul to this grab attack in Blighttown that I completely forgot existed, which was painful, but we make the Iato jump the first try, which kind of balances it out. The power within pyromancy is down here, grabbed off an enemy I'm going to call the Squelcher because I have no idea what they're actually called. And I remember here the reinforced club does bleed damage, one of the main reasons it's the best soul level 1 weapon. Nice to have that confirmed. We also grab the whip and the eagle shield from Blighttown. With Capra dead, Rhea and her entourage will spawn in Firelink. This questline is essential for getting all the miracles later. Ascend our weapon to +8 and slay our first Titanite demon before heading to Darkroot Garden. Here we grab the Partisan, the Wolf Ring, and take down the Moonlight Butterfly with a stick and a lot of patience. We need 2 of these souls for boss weapons and the Divine Ember located here as well. Join the Forest Hunters Covenant for another achievement, grab the Darkwood Grain Ring, Stone Armor, and Enchanted Ember, and head for the Hornet Ring. Now we want to grab the Hornet Ring without aggroing Sif, because there's a really sweet cutscene you can get from playing the DLC first that I want to show you guys. Grab the Grass Crest Shield, which is extremely useful for this run, the Red Tearstone Ring, and take on the Hydra. If you can space out your damage well here, you can actually kill this Hydra without cutting off all the heads. I fail in that, so getting this last one is a bit of a pain. Save Dusk while we're here so we can buy her sorceries and access the DLC later. I've always loved the concept of this DLC being a past version of Darkroot Garden. Now we push toward Anor Londo, but first we need to buy some pyromancies from Laurentius and grab the very large ember from New Londo Ruins. The Crestfallen Warrior surprises me, but it's a good chance to show you guys why the Hornet Ring is probably my favorite ring in the game. I love those new critical attack animations. We drain the water, unlocking one of my favorite shortcuts in the game, take out the Dark Wraiths, I'm very rusty at parrying them, grab our chunks in the Ember, and get our weapon climbing toward +15. In Sen's Fortress, we find Siegmeyer of Katarina.
Run flat up against the wall, or a ball to be precise.
We need to do his questline, which also gives us a miracle and a Titanite slab. The Covetous Gold Serpent Ring is such a cool little secret here. Always loved breaking down this wall. Now to save Logan. He won't sell us spells yet because we're too stupid, unfortunately, but this restriction doesn't apply after you save him in the Duke's archives. Crisis number 2 averted. There are quite a few guaranteed large Titanite shards scattered throughout Sen's Fortress. This lets us get to +10, but I decide here that I would rather do Lightning Ascension on my first weapon, complemented by a Chaos and Divine weapon. This does mean we have more to do before heading to Anor Londo. Luckily, the Crestfallen Merchant sells unlimited green Titanite shards. I take advantage of this to get my Divine weapon upgraded a bit to prepare for the Catacombs. We take out the Iron Golem here, but I missed the quick kill where you knock him off the tower. That's alright, just means we gotta smash his kneecaps for a while. Side note, this boss music has no right to be as good as it is. On our way down to Ceaseless and the Chaos Ember, I drop off the Enchanted Ember at Rickards and realize I have enough humanity to max out the Daughters of Chaos Covenant already. Doing this gets us some required pyromancies and opens up a shortcut we need to save Solaire. Ceaseless goes down pretty easily. I've never really bothered with that insta-kill thing, but the Chaos Ember is a bit more difficult. The lava just does an insane amount of damage, even after you get past the Horde of Taurus demons. A combination of Flash Sweat, the Gold Hemmed Set, the Flame Stoneplate Ring, and running really fast gets us the Ember. With Chaos Ember in hand, we head down to Vamos, the Skeleton Blacksmith. I absolutely love the way they did this guy's voice lines. He helps us get our hand axe to fire +4, but we are currently missing 1 green shard and 1 red chunk to get the Chaos Ball rolling. Without the Lord Vessel, this means a lot of backtracking, but I need this fire damage for Smo and Orenstein. Discover the Gravelord Servant Covenant while we're down here, getting us another achievement, but make sure not to join since we haven't activated our shortcut yet. We will join this covenant later for a few things. In the Catacombs, we also need to make sure to grab the Darkmoon Seance Ring and Tranquil Walk of Peace. We also get really lucky with Skull Lantern drops, which means we'll be able to get a Ring of Fog. Since we're doing all this extra stuff before Anor Londo anyway, I decide to just head to the Undead Asylum now for our chunks, slab, and doll. Grab a few more red chunks from the Great Hollow and fall in the water. Ash Lake is pretty, okay? I got distracted. Seriously though, this is probably my favorite area in the game. Let me know what yours is in the comments. Alright, I think we've delayed about as much as we can. On to Anor Londo and yet another achievement. This place is absolutely gorgeous, and the Firekeeper has arguably my favorite armor set in the game. Somehow, we make it through the infamous Raptor section first try and head to the bonfire below. I decide to go back for this divine blessing for some reason and find a very cultured message near Guinevere's statue. Next up, the Archers. These guys were so annoying my first playthrough of this game, I still remember it to this day. The Fog Ring does help here a bit, but my controller dies and we have to try twice anyway. There's a lot of really cool stuff in this next section. There's an underground liminal space with Havel's equipment, a really awesome stair shortcut, and the vibe here is just incredible. The paintings on the walls, the dragon skulls, the place is just dripping in atmosphere. We also progress Siegmeyer's questline again, though he doesn't necessarily approve of our methods.
Be warned. Gallantry entails great risks. Next time, give me a chance to come up with a plan.
The giant blacksmith here can provide us with a lightning upgrade for our club, and we only need 1 more chunk to get it all the way upgraded. Just so happens there's one right outside. This gets us our first weapon reinforcement achievement, lightning. Our weapon now does 485 damage, which is actually our highest damage for the entire run. Now for another obstacle. Orenstein and Smo, the fight I was second most worried about. I only had 2 humanity, so summoning Solaire wasn't really viable, and honestly I probably couldn't have kept him alive long enough anyway. The strat that worked? Lightning for baby Smo, then switch to Chaos for big Orenstein, since I want Orenstein's soul for Knight's Honor in new game. To my genuine surprise, his grab doesn't even one-shot me at level 1, which is remarkable. It takes a few attempts, but we do get it. Lord Vessel acquired. We also discover the Princess's Guard Covenant for another achievement. That's 2 more down. With Lord Vessel in hand, we meet up with Siegmeyer at Firelink. He gives us the miracle Emit Force, and we push his questline forward. We can now warp around the world. I head back to Ash Lake for another achievement, discovering the Path of the Dragon Covenant, and grabbing Great Magic Barrier while we're at it. I know I said it before, but I absolutely love this area. The haunting orchestral music, being able to see the Hydra's soft shell turtleback, the crunch of the ash, the sense of grandeur, it's breathtaking. Our next destination is Lost Izalith. One-shot Kirk on the way down to the Demon Fire Sage, grab the large flame ember, and open up the shortcut. We are still going the normal way to grab everything, but I kill Solaire's would-be parasite real quick. The Demon Fire Sage is weak to bleed just like the other Asylum demons, but he loves to spam this forward AoE attack. The trick is to try and stay behind him, even if that doesn't seem like the most appealing destination. I remember at this point that we need Quailana to get all the pyromancies. Good thing we've been upgrading our flame. We also need to get infected with Egghead so Ingi will sell us a few pyromancies. We take down Centipede Demon, which again requires all our fire resist, and use the souls to buy up all of Quailana's pyromancies. Next, we get infected with Egghead. You can tell you're infected because your character will start scratching the back of their head. Wait a few minutes and you'll turn, allowing you to buy Ingi's pyromancies. He also gives us a free egg vermifuge, so you don't have to worry about this being a permanent thing. Now for everyone's favorite boss, the Bed of Chaos. Grab the Chaos Whip pyromancy on the way and take him out after a few annoying deaths. We get an achievement for this and our first Lord Soul. My main reason for coming down here, the Red Titanite chunks, will have to wait since I don't want to mess up Siegmeyer's questline on accident. Beating Bed of Chaos allows us to finish Quailana's quest, granting us Fire Tempest. You'll notice here we never did Laurentius's questline. That's because all that really happens is he goes hollow and you kill him. And I like this guy, so I don't want to do that. He also doesn't drop anything, so head down to the Catacombs to take down Pinwheel, stopping at Varmos to give him the large flame ember. Beating Pinwheel gives you the Rite of Kindling, another achievement, and the ability to kindle bonfires to give you 20 Estus charges. It also drops one of 3 pretty useful masks, and we end up with the Mask of the Child. This This mask buffs your stamina regen, while the Mask of the Mother gives you more HP, and the Mask of the Father gives you more equip load. The stamina regen from this mask and the Grass Crest shield do stack, which is more useful than I thought it would be. Now for Rhea of Thorland. Once you save her from the Tomb of the Giants, you're on a timer before Petrus kills her, and if you kill Petrus first, she turns hostile. So the order of operations here matters a lot. We head to the Tomb of the Giants, find Rhea, parry Vince and Nico pretty cleanly, and get the replenishment spell. We also grab the large divine ember while we're down here. I love how you just drop into this massive tomb. Then we go buy all her miracles and kill Petrus. This idiot doesn't even know his miracles.
Feel the wrath of the gods.
That's forced, dumbass. He was not a threat. Unfortunately, there are no happy endings in Lordran, and we find Rhea later hollowed in the Duke's archives. But we got what we needed from her questline. We grab the rest of the white chunks and the slab we need to get our divine weapon to +10, netting us another weapon reinforcement achievement. We also take down Paladin Leroy here for Grant and Sanctus, and find the effigy shield, which are all needed for Knight's Honor. Now we're prepared for Nito, the boss I was most worried about. There's no way I'm getting this first try, right? Divine weapons make all the difference here. Just kill the 3 skeletons first and dodge his slow attacks. I love the hitbox design on this guy. The way you can smack his stanky leg from behind when he leaves forward, it's a really cool detail. We take down Nito on our first try? Didn't expect that. This gets us another achievement. We have a lot of souls at this point, and I want to try and spend them on Logan's spells in the archives if I can. So to Anor Londo we go. We also need to rescue Zieglund and grab the old pendant to access the DLC while we're here. The crystal hollows here are particularly scary because when they're buffed, they can one-shot you. Damn it! Ironically, I can also one-shot this Crystal Knight before Seath's room at level 1. Not as weak as one might think. Fun fact, you can actually jump off this elevator and skip the mandatory Seath death, but I've never been able to do this trick. Instead, I equip my rare ring of sacrifice just in case he curses my corpse, and wake up in the archive tower. I've always loved how you have to kill this snake guard to get the key. It makes it feel like a real prison break moment. But then something weird happens. See, in this section, you're supposed to make it to this little megaphone thing to shut it off, but I die before I'm able to. For some reason, when I respawn, however, the megaphone is turned off for me. Weird, but we still need to make our way down there to kill a couple Cthulhu beasties for miracles, soothing and bountiful sunlight, and the key for the exit door. Logan is also trapped down here, but we don't get his key until a little further on. On the way, we find strong magic shield, the crystal ember, and a bonfire. Fun fact, the enchanted falchion that drops from this mimic can be used to bypass the need for the magic and enchanted embers entirely. We can just max out the enchanted version, revert it to magic +6, and max it out again. Logan's cell key is also in this room. With key in hand, we head to free Logan. This is the only part of the run where I really don't want to lose my souls, since I have almost enough to buy everything Logan has up here. We need to clean out his inventory to finish his quest line and get the white dragon breath sorcery. Go free Logan and grab the Firekeeper soul in his room. Now we can buy most, but not quite all of Logan's spells, and he tells us the secret of Seath's immortality.
Ah, the secret of Seath's immortality. If you have fought him and were in prison, you must know that Seath is a true undead, different from ourselves. His wounds close promptly, and no mortal blow affects him, granting true insulation from death. It is an effect of the primordial crystal, a sacred treasure pillaged by Seath when he turned upon the ancient dragons. So only by destroying the primordial crystal can you so much as scratch his hide. And it so happens, the primordial crystal is in the inner garden of these very archives, the Crystal Forest.
There's so much in this game that seems obtuse, but it is explained somewhere. Just another aspect that makes this one of my favorite games of all time. In the area before Seath, we free Zieglund from a crystal golem, letting her know her father is alive before heading for our blue titanite slab. This walk is always a bit sketchy, and it's been long enough I decide to use prism stones. Good thing, too. I definitely would have died at least once. Fun fact, if you don't kill the crystal golem on the bridge, it can actually follow you down here. Terrifying stuff. We also grab a few blue chunks around here and finally head to Seath. The first time you fight him, there is no boss fog, which means these stupid clam guys are usually in the room with you. This gets me killed the first time, but we are tenacious. We also need to make sure to cut Seath's tail for the Moonlight Greatsword, and this ends up being the hardest part of the fight. After finally taking down Seath, we get our third Lord Soul and another achievement. The souls we get for this boss fight are also enough to let us buy the rest of Logan's spells, making him go mad. His mumbling really hit me for some reason this playthrough.
I don't remember. I can't remember the death. The undead.
Now that Logan is crazy, if you head to the room Seath murdered you in, he will be there, naked and ready to fight. Just try to prevent him from casting and you should be good. There's also a soul of a hero and a large magic ember in this room, so we grab those and head back to Firelink. Sieglind is here, and again, we tell her about her father, advancing their questline. The next step is to fight the Chaos Eaters down in Lost Izalith with Siegmeyer, but there is a catch to this. If he falls below 50% health, or if you kill them yourself, the questline will end, and you won't get the Titanite slab for finishing it. We manage to keep him healthy, grab a bunch of red chunks and the red slab down here, and head to Ash Lake. Just as we crest above this hill, we see in the distance 2 Knights of Katarina, one standing over the other.
My father, old Hollow Man, has been subdued. He will cause no more trouble. Finally over. I will return to Katarina. You assist us greatly. I can hardly return the favor, but please accept it. It's of no use to me now. Oh, Father. Dear Father.
Like I said before, no happy endings in Lordran. We take our Titanite slab and head on our way, but not before paying respects to our fallen comrade. Rest in peace, Onion Bro. With our new Titanite chunks and slabs, we get the Chaos Reinforcement and Enchanted Reinforcement achievements. Head down to the Magic Blacksmith to start working on normal Magic Reinforce, and grab a Stora's Straight Sword and the Dragon Crest Shield while I'm down here. Raw and standard weapons just take a bunch of regular and large Titanite shards, so I will be buying a bunch of those for the foreseeable future. We also need them for getting weapons to +10 for boss ascension later. I get my Raw Cestus to max, netting me that achievement, and revert the Lightning Spear to +10. This means I will just need to farm some chunks, and we will have standard reinforcement done as well. We use this Lightning Spear trick again later for boss weapons. Now before we deal with Sif, we head into the DLC. Until you beat the Sanctuary Guardian, you're actually stuck here, so time to commit. Sanctuary Guardian goes down, and we even get the tail cut, which is tricky since he only lowers it after specific attacks. Artorias takes a few attempts to get his patterns back in my memory, but the key is staying aggressive when he tries to buff. One heavy, one light with the club staggers him out of it, and we get the fight. Next, we make our way through the meat of the DLC, grabbing the Silver Pendant, Dark Orb, Crest Key, Dark Fog, Dark Bead, Black Flame, and the real reason we're here, saving Sif. Find Sif by following the Alvina ghosts to a secret wall. He is surrounded by living humanities, and by taking these out, we can help get him free. This changes the cutscene we get when fighting him, and we get the Cleansing Great Shield. I love how the lore of this item is reflected in its stats. Artorias, deeply scarred by the Abyss, used this to form a protective barrier to protect his compatriot Sif. Although this drained the shield, its magic defense remains high. And you'll notice the physical damage reduction for the shield is very low for a great shield, while the magic reduction remains high. These little lore moments are why these games are so special story-wise. We free Hawkeye so we can watch one of the coolest cutscenes ever, and then I remember I need to die to Calamite to trigger his help. I do think this is super cool, as he was obviously watching you fight the Black Dragon. Go grab the 3rd slab from the chest before Calamite cooks us, and then...
My intent is to persevere to the bitter end. Good, good. What is bravery without a dash of recklessness? I've taken a liking to thee, and I owe thee much for thy service to Artorias. Now, watch, and see how Goth hunts dragons.
This cutscene is just so cool to me. I would love to see or learn more about when these dragons were fighting with the Knights of Gwyn. The game is incredible at making you wonder and want to know more about, well, everything. On to Calamite. The tail cut here is easily one of the hardest in the game. Now, since our club is so small, I actually wonder if we can even do this tail cut. The only attack that we can really get an opening on that works is the tail slam, but he really doesn't like doing this. The best way to bait it out is to dodge under him when he does this double stomp attack, then dodge into a heavy attack on the tip of the tail. Do this 3 times and we get the Obsidian Greatsword. Now we can try to focus on the actual fight. After a few more attempts, we finally get it. He has so many attacks that one-shot us, but with some patience and well-timed punishes, we take down Calamite. This gives us the Calamity Ring, which makes you take double damage. Kinda useless, but still neat. We go tell Goff of our achievements, and he gives us his bow. He then tells us of Manus, and says the thing.
One day the flames will fade, and only dark will remain.
He even mentions a familiar face.
With that blacksmith. In truth, how is the old chap, I wonder? Still hammering away, I should hope.
He sure is, Goff. He sure is. On to Manus, Father of the Abyss. The main mechanic here is using the silver pendant to repel his dark magic. What actually makes the fight hard at SO1 is this awful combo attack where if even one hit connects, the rest follow, and even a single hit from this combo can kill you. Once you learn the pendant timing, the combo is what decides this fight. After figuring out the timing and taking our punishes patiently, we take down Manus at level 1. We head towards Sif, grabbing Quelaag's Fury Sword and getting a straight sword hilt ready for the Greatsword of Artorias on the way. We also trade Manus' soul to Snuggly for the Pursuer's spell, which is our final DLC spell. Now for one of the saddest cutscenes and boss fights in all of gaming. It always broke my heart the way he slowly swings his sword when injured as well. We pay our respects to an old friend before landing the final blow. Getting us the Covenant of Artorias ring and an achievement. We also get Sif's soul, which we will need 3 of for Knight's Honor. With Covenant of Artorias in hand, we can now head to the New Londo ruins and take on 4 kings. For soul level 1, this fight can be brutal if your DPS is low, and their projectile attack basically has to be blocked. I found that strafing right after a stab attack and hitting twice tends to make them repeat the same patterns. Not sure if this is consistent, but it worked for me. 2 tries and we take them down. All 4 Lord Souls collected and another achievement unlocked. Before we go beat Gwyn, however, we head to the Painted World. This area has weapons for Knight's Honor, a boss with a tail cut, and several spells we need, including the last pyromancies. We grab Great Magic Weapon from the Chandelier, explore the area, let King Jeremiah invade us for his whip, grab Fire Surge, Velka's Rapier, Dark Ember, Vow of Silence, the Blood Shield, and farm the Harpies on the stairs for souvenirs of reprisal. It takes about half an hour of farming to get all 10 souvenirs. Just to be transparent about how item discovery works here, having 1 soft humanity with the covetous Gold Serpent Ring gives us 350 item discovery. Having 4 soft humanity only bumps that to 373, so 1 humanity and the ring is optimal enough for me. We grab Acid Surge for our last pyromancy and get the Bond of the Pyromancer achievement. Hell yes. Now it's time to deal with Priscilla. The tail cut on Priscilla is actually quite tough because it's so small, but if you have a strong enough weapon, you can get it before the fight even begins. We are not so lucky, but we get the tail anyway, take her down for an achievement, and head out. Upon arriving back in Anor Londo, we join the Darkmoon Covenant with our 10 souvenirs, netting us yet another achievement, pledge our loyalty to Dark Sun Gwendolyn, and get Darkmoon Blade. Then, we immediately turn around and kill Gwendolyn for Sunlight Blade. There's unique dialogue at the start of the fight if you're a Blade of the Dark Moon, which we are, and I think that's a really cool detail.
Why would a blade of the dark moon trespasseth upon the great lord's tomb? Mark the words of mine self, Gwendolyn. Thou shalt not go unpunished.
The fight itself is more of a puzzle than a brawl. Use the pillars to block the small magic projectiles, dodge the big one, and strafe sideways toward him for the bow attack. Get about 3 pillars away, wait for the bow, then rush in for 2 or 3 hits. He teleports if you get too close, so patience is key here. We also kill the illusion of Guinevere and show off Dark Anor Londo. The Firekeeper attacks us, but that's just a free Firekeeper soul. Now this is where things get grindy. Knight's Honor requires a massive list of unique weapons, and a lot of them come from boss souls or enemy drops. Here's the quick version of what we still need. We farm Silver Knight Sword, Spear and Shield, Stone Greatsword and Great Shield, all the Black Knight weapons from the Kiln of the First Flame, and thankfully they all drop in one run. The Channeler's Trident, which has such a low drop rate, it takes 20 minutes of farming even with 410 item discovery. And we also need Patch's Crescent Axe. Speaking of Patches, I somehow never knew until this run that he sells all 3 Pinwheel Masks, Humanities, Divine Blessings, and even Eyes of Death. Incredibly useful vendor hiding in plain sight. He also gives us our final gesture, Prostrate. We cut off the Stone Dragon's tail for the Obsidian Greatsword, farm some Black Knights for Titanite chunks, and get enough for 3 more weapon reinforcement achievements. Standard, Occult, and Crystal. Magic and Fire will need to wait until next NG cycle so we can get some more slabs. We got the White Slab for the Occult weapon in the DLC right before Manus. The last few boss weapons require NG Plus and NG++ because we need Gwyn's soul twice and Sif's soul 3 times, so the grind continues across playthroughs. Before leaving New Game, we max out the Sunbros Covenant rank and get Great Lightning Spear. This is another opportunity to mess up the run. We need to make sure to end our first New Game cycle in the Sunbros, or else our faith requirement will reset, and getting summoned for co-op at level 1 on NG Plus is probably impossible. We need to take Gwyn's soul to the altar, which means we absolutely need to be able to join Sunbros in NG Plus. We also head down to Blighttown to grab Remedy, which is the last sorcery we needed for Wisdom of a Sage. All sorceries acquired. Let's go take down the last boss. It takes me about 3 tries, but the parry timings do come back to me pretty quickly. The Chaos Axe does serious work here. Get the Link the Fire ending and another achievement. We're about 36 hours in at this point, and about a third of that was just waiting to get summoned into co-op. Now on to NG+. We almost one-shot the Asylum Demon, and a Vagrant appears during the Taurus Demon fight, which was really cool. These are incredibly rare enemies that only show up when someone in another world drops an item, and it travels between worlds. Nice surprise. Now for the moment of truth I'd been dreading. Can we still pray at the Sunlight Altar in NG+, and turn Gwyn's soul into Sunlight Spear? The Covenant rank from last run. Does it carry over? Yes it does. Praise the sun. Head to Firelink, and remember, you don't even need Framp to get the Lord Vessel altar. Ironically, you can just, oh, I guess that doesn't work yet. We grab the Firekeeper soul in New Londo Ruins and upgrade our Estus to the maximum of +7. No achievement for this, but it's part of the 100% by our own definition, and we're seeing it through. Speaking of which, we also need to do Lautrec's questline this cycle. After beating Spider Tits and ringing the second bell of awakening, we come back to find the Firekeeper gone. Only a black orb and her clothes remain. Lautrec is responsible, and we can invade him in Anor Londo. He has lackeys, and I really hope this is possible at level 1. We head to Anor Londo and feel our black eye orb quivering, so we ponder it to invade Lautrec. Using the time-honored tradition of killing the host first, we achieve our victory. Ornstein and Smo round 2 is rough. Like 7 minutes running around to get 1 to half HP, and then dying in 1 hit rough. I summon the Sunbro Solaire to run distraction, and while he falls just before we win, his sacrifice was not in vain. With Smo's soul, we can now craft his boss weapon too. Boss weapons require different weapons with at least +10 standard reinforcement. This means we need 90 Titanite shards and 90 large Titanite shards to get all the weapons to where they need to be. I revert the lightning spear we found in Sen's fortress to a spear +10 and make Ornstein's Dragon Slayer spear. I end up sacrificing my Flame Cestus here to get it to +10, which ends up being a big mistake. We also get 2 straight swords, a thrusting sword, 2 shields, a katana, an axe, a whip, a hammer, and a bow to +10. Now we're able to craft the Moonlight Butterfly Horn, the Chaos Blade, the Golem Axe, the Dragon Bone Fist, the Life Hunt Scythe, Snow's Hammer, and the Dark Moon Bow. Next, we kill the Moonlight Butterfly and Sif again, then head to the Abyss without talking to Frampt and join the Dark Wraiths. We need the Dark Hand from them, and we get another achievement for just discovering them. 4 Kings on New Game Plus actually made me reconsider my decision. This fight took me so long to figure out, but it did end up being possible. Using the strafe manipulation from before and trying to get as many hits in as fast as possible, we finally take them down. The Catacombs are our next destination, so we can join the Gravelord Covenant and offer up 10 Eyes of Death. This gets us the Gravelord Sword Dance, and the Gravelord Great Sword Dance. These are the last 2 miracles we needed, so we unlock the Prayer of a Maiden achievement. That's all miracles, all pyromancies, and all sorceries at level 1. Grab the last of the slabs we need to get magic and fire reinforcement done, and get ready for our final showdown with Gwyn. We make sure to leave the chamber after beating him this time, getting us the Dark Lord ending and another achievement. We are so close, all we need now is to defeat Sif one more time, take our spoils to Anor Londo, and have the giant blacksmith craft the last few boss weapons. Crystal Ring Shield, Great Lord Greatsword, Great Shield of Artorias, and Great Sword of Artorias. We finally did it. The last 2 achievements unlocked. We have obtained the Dark Soul at level 1. So, 100%ing Dark Souls at level 1. It is possible. Your biggest obstacle by far is getting into the Warriors of Sunlight. That faith requirement looks like a brick wall, and for a while I really wasn't sure we were going to get through it. But with enough patience, the right community help, and about 10 hours of waiting across multiple sessions, it is doable. Everything else, the boss fights, the weapon farming, the quest lines, the NPC routing, all of it is challenging but solvable. The Sun Bros are where this run lives or dies. I love this game, I loved coming back to it, and I hope you enjoyed watching someone suffer through it for your entertainment. Let me know what other challenges or games you'd like to see in the comments below. Praise the sun, chosen undead. Now get out there and play some Dark Souls.